Hey, this is C&D Chow. I'm Chris. This is my dog, and this is MMA for you. I'm going to be doing my post-fight analysis for InvictaFC 9. Overall, I thought it was a good card. The main event left a lot to be desired, though. You got to see some stand-up performances from the likes of Jamie Moyle, Andrea KJB Lee, and Carolina Kovac. And Kovac versus Mizkin No Way was a great fight. I thought that was really fun to watch. Great technical ability there. Couple bloodbaths, and the first I think that's 5 of the fights, had blood. Would have made Ric Flair proud, or whatever pro wrestling reference you want to use, Mick Foley, Steve Corino, whoever. Some of the fights were a bit one-sided, but that's kind of expected in a sense, but also you wouldn't know it, because if you look at the records, like Moyle versus Jenny Lee Shriver already had 2 pro MMA fights, whereas Moyle was making her pro MMA debut. Andrea Lee had 1 or 2 pro MMA fights, same with Shannon Sin. So the fights ended up turning out to be one-sided. My picks, I didn't do too bad. Got 6 out of 9. The picks I missed were Carolina Kovac versus Mizkin No Way, Raquel Palui versus Caitlin Young, and Amber Brown versus Les McCarthy. After this event, I read a couple articles here and there talking about the event. Some of them are a bit negative. I think the overall theme of a lot of articles that I read were that the UFC poaching Invicta's talent has really shown as far as this event goes. And I'd like to kind of extrapolate on that. I think it's true to a sense. This card definitely isn't one of their stronger cards. If anything, it's probably their weakest card that they've had. Not to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did. But as far as some form of name value goes, there's not a lot of name value here. Which is fine. It goes to show me that the InvictaFC is just in a rebuilding phase right now. You'll see some established talent, whether it's Judy Esquibel, Varv Honchak, Mizkin No Way. Nick Dolly's been there for a while. Caitlin Young, you'll see some established fighters, but you'll see a lot of unknown fighters, and that's fine. Like I said, standout performances from Andrea Lee, Jamie Moyle, and Carolina Kovac. And when I think about some of the fighters coming out of InvictaFC that went on to DFC or The Ultimate Fighter Season 20, Rose Namajunas, Tesha Torres, Joan Calderwood, Leslie Smith, to name a few. It only took 1 or 2 fights for fans to eventually get endeared to them. It didn't take very long. It was just... And I think that's going to happen here, I think one more fight, Andrea Lee is going to be pretty well known with the InvictaFC fan base already, and I would imagine a lot of people would want to see her fight. Jamie Moyle, even the last InvictaFC, Deanna Bennett, Alexa Grasso, JJ Aldrich, all stand out. So, it looks like a case where, their talent's depleted, but I think they're going to refill it pretty quickly, to be perfectly honest with you. And a lot of these female fighters are just going to stand out above the rest pretty early. And in my opinion, Andrea KJB Lee probably stood out the most. I think that was something of a consensus, actually. On the live during the live show, there's I go in like a discussion panel it seemed kind of unanimous that like Andrea Lee was pretty much a standout here as far as like female fighters making their InvictaFC debut. I thought she stood out the most, but there were some good performances. It didn't help that there were a lot of decision victories, but there were a lot of bloodbaths as well. Didn't help that the main event was pretty much a grinder, and it was like against the fence too. So let's just get started. Barb Honchak retained her title against Takahashi. There's a lot of wall install in this fight. I think this fight kind of illustrated to me that Honchak needs stronger competition. Honchak just seemed to be better in pretty much all areas of MMA than Hashi. I kind of wish, it's kind of the job of the challenger to do stuff, but to do more to like get the title, but I kind of wish that Honchak would do a little more. I think one thing, like, for example, she got her against a cage, but she wouldn't go attack the legs for, like, to complete a takedown. It just seemed like, get the clearance, go against the cage, and kind of just stay there, throw a couple knees. But I didn't really see the strong urgency to take the fight to the ground or anything like that, or do just cause more offense that would do more damage than control. So I would have liked to see that out of Honchak. It didn't happen, unfortunately. But yeah, so it also kind of illustrates something that we've seen for a while. It's these Japanese veterans fighting in the US in these championship bouts. It's like Michelle Waterson versus Tamada, and Waterson just destroys her. And World Series of Fighting, Jessica Aguilar fought Emi Fujino. It's like lost pretty definitively. Same here, Hashi versus Honchak. It was kind of like there's just like this given that like Honchak's gonna win, and the odds really reflected that as well. So I'd like to see there. It's not like there's this huge amount of competition out there, but for Honchak, I think she can get Deanna Bennett. That'd be a good fight. Jennifer Maya. If you want to hot shot someone too up there, Andrea Lee, I'd like to see Andrea Lee get a couple more fights, but before fighting Honchak, but there's some competition there now where you don't have to go with the Japanese veteran, to pretty much get outclassed at this point against their like U.S. counterpart. So yeah, next fight after that, Carolina Kovalkovic beat Mizka Inoue by split decision. Man, this was a great fight of the night here. Just strong technical striking from both. It's unfortunate that Mizka Inoue lost in a sense because there's a lot of hype for her. In my opinion, despite the loss, she is still shown to be a blue chip prospect. She strikes better than a lot of guys, both offensively and defensively. Her use of head movement and just blocking, really good. She would counter off of those as well. there's definitely a size advantage for Carolina. It's an upset win for Carolina. But I've never actually seen Carolina fight like that. I watched some of her videos, and I didn't think she had that type of striking. She didn't use, she used pretty much like a lot of times it was just like a 1-2, and a kick. But it was enough, it's range. It's all, she used the range correctly against Inoue. The fight could have gone either way. It could have been a draw, For some people, it was like the first round was Carolina's, but I think the second went to Inoue. That third round was really close. I know some people said Inoue, some said Kovakovic, some said draw. So, yeah. Nonetheless, this might kind of seem like a title eliminator. I'm assuming that Carolina Kovakovic would get Kachikakampa for the title. She probably should. That's a really big win. Inoue was really hyped up. Carolina was not expected to win, and she did. With Inoue, I think a good fight that would make sense for her, that would be really cool, would be Stephanie Egink. Egink has boxing experience as well, and she's good on the ground. She almost beat Kachikakampa until that last I want to say desperation sub, but until that sub it's an anaconda choke that came from Kakampa at the 5th round. But yeah, I'd like to see Inoue versus Egink next. Next round, that Rakopoli defeated Caitlin Young by unanimous decision. Man, this kind of shows a lot with Young. She now has 4 losses in a row. She fades as fights go on, and she still needs to work on the ground. When she loses, it tends to be because of grappling. And this was a good case of it. Props to Palui, though, for taking the fight on just a couple days' notice and getting the win. She's tough and gritty. Caitlin Young, especially in the first round, looked really good in that first round, using lateral movement, in and out, striking style and whatnot. But Palui, she was always in the fight. I don't even know if she took a step back. Used grappling when necessary and got the win. So great win for her. For a lot of these fighters, I can't really say who they're going to fight next or anything like that. But there isn't this huge amount of bantamweights that they can fight. I don't know what happens with Young at this point, though. It's 4 losses in a row. It's really unfortunate for her. She moved to a new camp, training with Ronda Rousey and a 4 horsewoman. Pretty unfortunate that she couldn't get the win, though. Next fight after that, Judy Esquibel defeated Nikdali Haveri-Kalanick by unanimous decision. This was all Esquibel, She was using lateral movement. She's going in and out, finding her strikes. She had some trouble near the end with a guillotine. Even shot for some takedowns. Got a good one on the second. Cost her in the third. But nonetheless, it's all Escobar. She's in an interesting position, though, because her teammate Michelle Watterson is the InvictaFC Atomweight champion. But Escobar has been racking up some wins now. She won against Jinyu Frey in her last fight. Now she just beat Haveri-Kalanick. So it's one of those weird things. It's what's Escobar fighting for in a sense, outside of getting wins, money, and whatnot. It's a weird situation if she's not gonna fight for the title. I don't know. Maybe she will. Maybe she'll agree to fight or maybe they'll agreed to fight each other. Watterson Esquibel. I don't know. Because at 105 too. I think she's a good candidate. Unless you want to go with like Amber Brown to fight Watterson. Oh no. Watterson's fighting Erica Tiburcio anyways. So I guess that doesn't matter too much right now. Like I said, there isn't like this with a lot of these fighters. There isn't like a clear person for them to fight, and actually that goes for pretty much the next all the fighters I'm gonna mention here. Next right after that, Amber Brown defeated Liz McCarthy by split decision. I agree with this, I thought Brown definitely did the more damage. This was a bloody fight. I liked Brown's knees. She stunned McCarthy a couple times, actually. So, good for her. McCarthy did manage to take the fight to the ground. Did a little more control than anything else. I think she got some ground and pound in. But, Amber Brown, like I said, she was, I guess I liked her striking, especially her knees. I think she can use some help with takedown defense and getting her back to her feet when she is taken down. But otherwise, good showing from Amber Brown here. Next right after that, Amanda Bell defeated Maria Hogarth-Jersa by TKO in the first round. I think this was the only finish. Amanda Bell just mauled Jersa. I mean, she came in there and just beat her up on the feet and then ground and pounded her for a victory. She's really strong. Geez, at 145, there aren't like this huge amount of options for her to fight. I guess you can go like a Charmaine Tweed or something like that. There isn't like these immense amount of options for her. With Cyborg also getting down to 135. I don't know if Julia Budd is still with Invicta. She might be with Bellator now. So, maybe put Amanda Bell in like a title fight or something like that. She's also come off that big win over Marina Shafir. So, yeah, because I don't really know what you do with Bell at this point. Next fight after that, Andrea Lee defeated Shannon Sin by unanimous decision. In my opinion, this was a standout performance from Andrea Lee. Her striking, in my opinion, is just far above the curve. I think she probably has the best striking in the flyweight division. She has a lot of accolades too. I mean, boxing accolades or credentials. Boxing and Muay Thai credentials. I read somewhere that like she's trying out for the U.S. Women's Olympic boxing team, something like that. Don't know if it's true or not. I just read that somewhere. I remember one announcer said that she's a part of the U.S. Kickboxing team, women's kickboxing team, or something like that. So, that with her, she's pretty big for the weight class too. She hits with power. She throws combinations. She uses head movement, throws kicks, attack the body as well. There's a lot to like with Andrea Lee. I think she should get a couple more wins. But eventually I'd like to see her fight Barb Honchak. She defended the takedowns actually from Sin really well, so that was good. Even, I think she even got some ground and pound on her as well. So, great win for Lee here. Definitely someone I'm going to keep an eye out for moving forward. Next fight after that, Jamie Moyle defeated Jenny Lee Shriver by unanimous decision. This is all Moyle. I remember watching her on Tough Enough. And her fight against Molly Renholm, I think, to get the InvictaFC contract. And I thought she's really solid. And she showed it here, too. Striking's good. Nothing too fancy, you know. Good knees from the clinch. Good striking. Uses combinations. She's pretty good on the ground. Just solid everywhere, you know. Nothing too flashy. Just fundamentally sound. Trains out of Syndicate. You know, she has, you know, good training as well. Jenny Liu, I mean, she was bleeding. She was battered, too. That was a beatdown. And she took it, you know, and was still in there. But Moyle was just a much better fighter. 115's, I think, the one division that's going to grow pretty quick in InvictaFC, to be honest with you. I would say there's a good 7 good strawweights in Invicta. Egink, Kankampa, Inoue, Kovakovic, Grasso, Moyle, and Aldrich. I'd say those 7 are pretty solid quality fighters already. So I like I said, I think they find more Jamie Moyles, you know, which I think they will. I think they'll be in good shape, you know. And finally, Kelly McGill defeated Megan Goodwin by unanimous decision. This fight just kind of showed that both these fighters are still green, but that's fine. You know, Goodwin's only 22, McGill's only 20. They're gonna get better, you know. They can rise up the ranks relatively quickly just by virtue of outside of the UFC, the bantamweight division isn't, you know, like, you know, pretty much the UFC has all, like, the best bantamweights. Might be hard for them to find fights, but, you know, as far as rising up the ranks in Invicta, I mean, if they can find good competition for these two, I can see him improving and getting pretty far. You know, I like what I saw from McGill. The third round was the round that was the most entertaining. The first 2 rounds, there was, you know, some kickboxing, but, you know, sometimes it felt like, I want to say, like a sparring match in a sense. But like that third round where she got her down and crucifixed her, and then McGill got her down, crucifixed her, and elbowed her. That was some really good stuff. You know, they're both inexperienced, you know, and it showed. But there's potential for both to get better. So, other things to note, I guess InvictaFC 10, Michelle Watterson fights Herika Tiburcio in the main event. Co-main is Cindy Dandois versus Tanya Avenger. Chris Cyborg Justino is not fighting on that event due to an ankle injury. That's unfortunate. I think most people wanted to see her fight at 135. So that's it for my post-fight analysis for InvictaFC 9. If you have any comments, just leave them below. And that's it for MMA for you. Thank you guys very much.